Have you ever felt that strange unease when you're alone at night, almost as if you're being watched? Maybe you text a friend or share your location, just in case. It's that instinct, that sense of danger we can't shake off. But what if the real threat isn't so far away? In today's story, we're diving into one of Hong Kong's most terrifying criminal cases. For decades, the city lived in peace, unaware of the darkness lurking in its shadows. That is, until August 1982, when everything changed with the rise of the city's first ever serial killer. Today in this video, we'll be exploring the disturbing tale of Lam Kor Wan, also known as the Jars Killer or the Rainy Night Murderer. What began with a few strange photographs would lead police down a chilling path of murder, mystery, and terror. So grab a seat and get ready. This story is not for the faint of heart. Today, we often send texts to loved ones or share taxi license plates when heading home late at night. But have you ever wondered why? It's a way to protect ourselves, a precaution many people around the world take after hearing about chilling stories of serial killers. Hong Kong, however, didn't experience such horrors until 1982. This is the story of Lam Kor Wan, Hong Kong's first serial killer, known as the Jars Killer or the Rainy Night Murderer. His crimes shocked the city, changing everything for law enforcement and the public. On August 10, 1982, police officer Lee Kwok Ho was in his office in Kwun Tong. He had dealt with many cases but had never encountered a serial killer. Hong Kong had been spared from such horrors. That was until he received a phone call that would change everything. The caller was Wong Tai Yin, the manager of a Kodak shop in Tsim Sha Tsui. Wong explained that one of his regular customers had come in to print photos, but there was something off about this man. He claimed to be a university technician who took photos of deceased bodies for medical research, which seemed strange, but not entirely suspicious at first. However, Wong's unease grew when this customer came back multiple times to check on his prints. On the fourth visit, he requested to have one of the photos enlarged. Wong told him they didn't have the facilities at the shop, but directed him to another branch where larger prints could be made. About an hour later, the manager of the second branch called Wong. Terrified, he had printed the enlargement, but realized that the photos weren't taken in a morgue as claimed. These were the photos of a murderer's work. Officer Lee immediately began investigating, searching for connections between these disturbing photos and unsolved cases in Hong Kong. He eventually linked them to a body found in the Xingmun River, and he soon realized that Hong Kong had its first serial killer. With little to go on, the only lead they had was the description of the man from the Kodak shop. Officers set up surveillance, and on August 17, 1982, they caught their man. When Lam Kor Wan arrived to collect his photos, he was arrested. He tried to deny any wrongdoing, claiming the photos belonged to a friend. But when officers attempted to contact this supposed friend, it became clear that Lam was lying. They searched his taxi and found a knife and handcuffs, but Lam still denied any involvement. The police then searched his apartment, where they found disturbing evidence: books on anatomy, expensive photography equipment, and a locked box under his bed. Inside the box were hundreds of photos and videos documenting Lam's gruesome acts. Along with these were jars containing women's sexual organs. It was chilling evidence of his twisted crimes. Initially, police suspected that Lam's family might have been involved, but after further investigation, they confirmed that Lam acted alone. When Lam was confronted with the evidence, he confessed to the murders, though he insisted that he had been acting on divine instructions. Born on May 22, 1955, Lam had a troubled childhood. His father was strict, and Lam struggled to meet his expectations. In his teenage years, Lam developed a fascination with photography, which led to his dark obsession with taking pictures of women. He would often peep into bathrooms or take voyeuristic photos. His disturbing behavior escalated after he was kicked out of his family home at 18. In 1978, Lam became a taxi driver, and in 1982, he began his killing spree. His first victim was a woman he picked up in his taxi one rainy night. After strangling her, he dismembered her body in his apartment, taking photos of the process. Over the next few months, he continued his gruesome murders, carefully planning each one. He targeted women who were alone late at night, often in the early hours when they were vulnerable. His second victim, a woman named Chon Wan Kit, was killed in a similar manner. Lam's obsession grew, and he began to carefully plan his murders, using surgical tools and professional equipment to dismember his victims with precision. By his third victim, Lam had developed a disturbing ritual, cutting up the bodies, keeping certain body parts, and disposing of the remains in secluded areas. In July 1982, Lam targeted a young woman named Leung Wai-sum. After taking her life, he recorded the entire act on video, his first such recording. He then dismembered her body, as he had done with the others, and left the remains in a remote location. Lam continued to kill until his capture. At trial, Lam was found guilty of 4 murders and sentenced to death by hanging. However, in 1993, Hong Kong abolished the death penalty, and Lam's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Now, at 67 years old, Lam Kor Wan is still serving his sentence in Shek Pik prison. He remains isolated with no contact from his family, who were shunned because of his crimes. His story remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind ordinary facades, and how even in a city like Hong Kong, where safety once seemed assured, horrors can happen when least expected. And that's the haunting story of Lam Kor Wan, the Jar's killer. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters don't hide in the dark. They walk among us. What do you think drove Lam to commit such horrific crimes? Was it something in his past, or was he always destined for this dark path? We may never know all the answers, but one thing is certain. His crimes left an indelible mark on Hong Kong, and his name will forever be tied to its most terrifying criminal history. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of criminal history. And remember, stay safe. You never know who might be watching.